Hey, welcome everybody to a live episode of Strong Style here this week. Thank you so much for joining us on this lovely Saturday afternoon, evening, or morning, depending on when you're watching or listening to us here, because sometimes you can listen to us on the Outlaw Nation Podcast Network as well. I know some of you have jumped over there to see what to re-listen to some of the episodes about everything from everything here on the Outlaw Nation channel. And this is one of those ones you re-listen to a lot, I've discovered by the numbers. So thank you all so much. I am the Outlaw John Rocha coming to you live from the new Outlaw Nation studios here in San Diego, California, but joined as always by my man down there in Orlando, watching the college football, watching the pro wrestling, ready for NXT Takeover. Aaron Turner, how are you, man?
I'm coming to you live from my in-laws' guest room, as I will be for the next 6 to 8 months.
Yeah,
as our house is being built. So yeah, the luxurious Ponce Inlet Studios here.
Yeah,
no complaints. But yeah, man, doing well. Feeling great.
Good.
You better than I have in a couple weeks, which is good.
Did you have the COVID? Were you at a Trump rally?
No, I was not. No, none of that. Commander in Chief is down, but I am still standing.
Oh, stand! You're a tough one. You're a tough one, Aaron Turner. You're a tough one. Yeah, a lot of love coming in. If I look a little tired, I apologize to everybody. It's been a busy couple of days. Moving all kinds of stuff down here and then unpacking everything so I could do an interview this morning for the channel that will be coming out a little bit later on this week. But certainly excited to be able to do the first show officially on the Outlaw Nation channel from the studio, being Strong Style, one of my favorite shows to do here on the channel. So I'm excited to get into all kinds of wrestling goodness. For those of you who maybe didn't read the preview, we're going to be doing an NXT Takeover preview for the event happening tomorrow night. We're going to talk a little bit about Joey Ryan's situation. We'll talk about the Wrestlemania. Is WrestleMania moving from LA to Florida, possibly, with everything that's been happening with COVID related? And of course, our match of the week is Dustin Rhodes versus Stunning Steve Austin from 1993's Halloween Havoc. Is that right, from WCW there, Aaron? Am I right on that?
You are correct.
Had hair. It's weird to see him with hair. It's a little strange to see Stunning Steve Austin with hair. It doesn't work. It doesn't work for me, I'll be honest with you.
I think he looks kind of good. I mean, they build him as being from California, which is really funny because at one point during the match, Tony or Jesse, one of the two says, talking about Dustin Rhodes, saying, yeah, you can't just beat a guy from Texas. They're just really tough. I'm like, they're both from Texas. Like, I don't know what you're talking about, but okay.
Texarkana. Yeah. We're also going to get into Matt Cardona leaving the AEW because contract is up. And then we're going to get into also a little bit more about the Ryan Satin situation. Our brother in arms, Ryan Satin, walking away from the pro wrestling sheet. Pretty massive news that all of us got the other day. And, we've been talking, well, at least I've been texting Ryan. I don't know if Aaron's been texting Ryan, but I texted Ryan about it yesterday on the drive down and got the 411. Of course, we're not going to release any of the behind the scenes 411, but certainly we're going to talk about the fact of what he did with that site and what we hope to see from Ryan going forward in the future, and hopefully maybe stopping in to be to do a guest spot with us at some point down the road. That would be awesome as well. Anyway, all right, Aaron, what do we got first? What's going on, man? Sorry, one last thing. People, please remember Super Chats and Streamlabs. Don't forget, send those in right now. Send us in any questions you got, any conversations you want to have here about pro wrestling on Strong Style. Send it in, your Streamlabs and your Super Chats, answering it all here on the show. Sorry, Aaron, please go ahead.
It's okay. I'm just saying, Ryan Satin better be on the show at this point. He's got no contractual obligations any longer.
That's true.
Let's start with this Joey Ryan situation. You may notice on the thumbnail that I just put a big X over his face because I'm just not a big fan. Like let's full disclosure here. I used to be. I used to think that the breast and penis, thought that was hilarious. The whole Dick Druid gimmick was pretty funny. The whole powerful mystical penile arts, pretty funny.
I agree.
But as it went on, it kind of started to wane on me, and I was like, why are we doing this in the era of the Me Too movement and people speaking out? Why are we doing this?
Right.
And it gets worse and worse, and then you find out behind the scenes that maybe it's not as good as maybe it's not as consensual as we were led to believe. Maybe some other things happened that were no good. So Joey Ryan has essentially been I mean, more or less blackballed from the industry. He was running his independent shows, Bar Wrestling, which is now gone. The venues that were holding that previously will no longer hold it. So in that case, Joey Ryan is suing 3 of the women who accused him of sexual assault, claiming that their allegations are false and that it has cost him almost $20,000 in monthly income.
Wow.
Let me just go through this real quick. It looks like he actually, from what it says here, it says he's seeking $200,000 in economic damages to each of the defendants, or the amount lost by the plaintiff as a result of the conduct, multiplied by the amounts from June 21st, 2020 to date. So that's a lot more money. That's about $5 million to each defendants in non-economic damages. His cost, his lawyer cost, and any kind of court costs that just the court deems proper. So not a small amount of money here. And I got to ask you, man, like you see Joey Ryan doing all this crap and like essentially blackballed from the industry. What do you think of this?
It's a weird place to be in. And look, I'm not going to be one of those guys that goes, well, it was always cool to me. I think the days of those kinds of like comebacks or arguments or defenses are kind of over, because we don't know specifically what that particular situation was like between the 2 people involved or the multiple people involved. None of us were there. And so you look at someone who makes the accusation and go, okay, well, you know what? And nowadays you have to give this accusation weight, because in so many years in the past, you didn't, and people didn't, unfortunately. And like police didn't, a lot of corporations, a lot of companies didn't. And so, people got away with a lot of terrible things. So look at this situation. Like, well, look, so many people coming forward and speaking about this. I'm hearing other things behind the scenes that some people have possibly, intentions or nefarious means. I know when I met Joey, I had a really great time meeting him, but you hear about this stuff, you go, you know what? Once again, it's their own personal thing. Someone may say, hey, this person's really cool, and that's great. We're seeing with the Ray Fisher situation, right? Other people aren't complaining on that set who worked with Jeff Johns and whoever. It's Ray Fisher who's complaining. Jason Momoa is backing him up, but it's Ray Fisher's personal story. So just because he was nice to somebody else on another set does not mean he wasn't an a-hole to someone else on another set. And the same thing, just because Joey was really nice to me at Collider when we interviewed him for Collider Live, it does not mean that he didn't get into a situation here where some wires got crossed or he did some bad things and needs to be called out for it. So for me, I'm like, well, if you can prove this case, then more power to you. But if you can't prove it, this is more desperation and it'll make you look bad. I don't know what the upside of this is, Aaron, unless you've got rock solid evidence, rock solid facts to defend you in this situation. And by the way, how the fuck was he making $20,000 a month as an indie wrestler? Let's put that on the table.
Yeah, there's a lot going into that. Apparently, a lot of receipts from Bar Wrestling. Apparently, that was the big part of it, was running your own wrestling show. And I guess they were popular enough to where that was making him a good bit of money. I had some friends that would go to Bar Wrestling a lot. So yeah, even Bailey showed up there a couple times because her boyfriend wrestled for Joey. So that's probably where that came from. But, like you said, you kind of hear the rumblings. Like I remember a couple years ago when I had a different podcast, we were interviewing Paul London.
Yeah.
And after when Paul London was in Lucha Underground, and we, after person and I got done, I was asking this person, like, hey, what about the Lucha Underground person? Like, what about Joey Ryan? Can we get him on the show? I'm like, you probably don't want to get Joey Ryan on the show. And I'm just I'm like, okay, we'll just leave it at that. Like, say no more. So that's kind of where I had my first inkling, but I didn't know anything further than that. I mean, there was no specifics discussed or anything like that. But to see this come out, it just feels like a last ditch effort, because he released a 60-minute video basically refuting every single claim. And it's just like, dude, like, what are you doing? I know you're trying to save face, and if you are truly innocent, I am terribly sorry that this happened. But it seems a little weird that they're, fool me once, shame on me, fool me twice, fool me 3 times. Like, what's going on?
Just stop fooling me.
Yeah, it's just not fooling me. Exactly. And I should go further to say that he's also filed a claim preventing defendants from making or publishing defamatory comments like they have on Twitter. Ordering defendants to direct any and all websites that defendants posted defamatory comments, to delete the comments. So essentially, if someone said it to Pro Wrestling Cheat, they would have to take that down essentially. But Impact Wrestling fired him on June 22nd,
right?
And that's really, he's been in a state of flux and essentially hiding since then.
Yeah.
So we haven't really seen a whole lot of Joey Ryan, and with good cause. There's no one that's going to book somebody like that.
Yeah.
Especially if you're trying to book female wrestlers. You know what I mean? Like, it's just that kind of thing.
And look, I'm not naive enough to believe that, like, every single claim is correct. It's not. I mean, I think that's just this. Human beings will, for their own reasons, one way or another, do their things. You know what I'm saying? But
sure.
I think there's so much fire and smoke here that at some point, maybe he needs to take a look at himself and be like, you know what? If everyone else is stepping up and trying to make me look at something and I'm not looking at it, something's wrong here. And all these wrestlers, female wrestlers, have come forward, and women who've come forward to speak about the situation. There's just too many, man. And at some point you go, you know what? There's no defense here. Clearly there's enough evidence for enough people to keep coming out to speak about it. And Joey needs to address it. And I don't think counter suing them is the way to go about it, man. I really don't. I think sitting down, trying to get that apology, trying to speak truth to them and apologize to them and try to, kind of make amends or try to make some kind of connection here to apologize for it is the way to go. Because like I said earlier, I don't see an upside on this unless you're got, just like unbeatable evidence. I don't see the upside of it at all. I think it's quite dangerous to do it this way. And there are some people who feel aggrieved, who've been unfairly maligned or unfairly vilified by some accusations in the past, and they felt the need to go to extreme measures to defend themselves. But I don't know, man. I just think for this one, I think Joey should just shut it down for a while, go to rehab, go take a look at this thing, do some therapy, figure it all out, put it together. Because if there's one thing we do as human beings, Aaron, and especially as Americans in this country, we respect second chances or third chances as long as you show some real effort to try to change who you are as a person and really atone for the things you've done in the past. Whether you feel like you were right or wrong, it wouldn't kill you to listen. Do you know what I'm saying? And then just kind of figure out from there, do your therapy and come out the other side. Because that's really the lesson we want people to learn is like, if enough accusations come forward, or even 2 or 3 accusations come forward, take a look at yourself and let's figure out what's happening here, for real.
Someone mentioned it in the chat, and I'm trying to find it here about Joey. Christian Ramos said it about being edited out of Being the Elite, the YouTube channel or the YouTube show the Young Bucks have.
Yeah.
If your own friends don't have your back, then what's wrong, man? Because no one has come to take this guy's back.
Yeah.
So it's very like when Matt Riddle did his thing, people had Matt Riddle's back. Said, "Hey, Matt Riddle's a good guy. Yeah. I don't, we're not believing this. Here's why. Here's the evidence. Here's the proof." And people do not have Joey Ryan's back on this. Yeah. That leads me more to think that this is not only the real deal, but this is just how it is.
Yeah, and that's an unfortunate truth there, Aaron. And you're right because with Matt Riddle, even the WWE didn't come forward and try to get him out of there or whatever. Right. They wrote it out because they felt that there was more to the story than was being told, and that happens. Look, human beings. Stuff happens behind the closed doors at night, late at night, going out, drinking, all this kind of stuff. Stuff happens. And I don't mean rape, obviously. I don't mean sexual assault. I mean, sometimes you get into a situation with someone and you think you're seeing a certain sign, you think you're reading something, and you're not right, or it's not correct, and you get into a bad situation. And that's the unfortunate truth of things. The best thing you can do is hear the other side, navigate your way out of it, and come to an understanding and a position of and try to get that forgiveness and acceptance. That's kind of how it goes, And so, I don't know. It's an unfortunate situation for Joey because I like you. I agree. Unfortunately, I don't mean that to be tame. I mean, obviously he brought it on himself. I'm saying because I really defended him with that the dick stuff and the penis stuff because I was like, dude, it's professional fucking wrestling. This is not motherfucking book club. This is professional wrestling. So this kind of carnival barker circus stuff, this is part of it. Whether you like it or not, this is part of it. Need I show you Doink the Clown? Kiss my ass. So it's like, to me, that bothered me when they were trying to come after him about the penis thing. I was like, what the fuck are you doing? You're dressing up as a character too. What's the difference? But this is something beyond the pale. And I hope he takes a look at it, man. I hope he finds a way to kind of navigate this situation and do the right thing. Because I don't think suing people is going to send the right message at all, man.
Yeah, maybe time to step aside and maybe rest in penis somewhere else.
Nice. Well said. Well said. Well, before we move on, we've got 53 y'all watching us live. Thank you so much for joining us. Please hit that like button. Hit that thumbs up button. We only got 20 likes. Let's get up to 50 likes since 53 you're watching us. And please remember, we've got the Streamlabs and the Super Chats open. Haven't seen any Streamlabs Super Chats come through yet, but please send some through. Give us some love here on this lovely Saturday afternoon as we go into October. And so much is happening. The MLB playoffs. We've got the NXT Takeover event tomorrow night. The NBA Finals are happening. College football is happening. The NFL might be still happening.
Oh my man! Hold on real quick. Sidebar: the Tennessee Titans, which is my team, is going to screw it up for everybody. Like that's basically what happened. That's what's happening right now. Cam Newton got the COVID. And then, 3 more Titans member, they believe one more a staffer and 2 players got the COVID. So Tennessee's going to screw it up forever. How does college football? When college football is all over the place, and the NFL is sort of a bubble because there's only 32 teams and they can't leave during the their bye weeks and stuff. Yeah. How does the NFL have such a COVID outbreak? Well, and college football doesn't.
Well, I mean, college football did at the beginning during training camp. What happened? Remember, Clemson had a bunch of players. LSU had 3/4 of their team go down. Bama had some players. So that kind of stuff it happened right at the beginning. The coaches were scared out of their minds because of the loss of money for their university and possibly their contracts, and completely jumped on top of this and tried to eradicate any COVID infections and really ramped up the testing. And that's what happened there. The NFL came in and thought they could handle this thing well. But the thing is, there's so many people in the NFL, and these are men, not kids, that you can kind of force into a bubble. These are men, and they're going to do their things. I mean, that rookie for the Seahawks tried to sneak in that woman dressed as a Seattle Seahawks player just to have sex with her, dude. Right?
That's amazing. I love that. It's just... Oh man, the NFL! Oh, I love it. I love it. Yeah, I mean, we knew that the NFL would treat it like WWE is treated. It. They're just it doesn't bother us, so we're just going to do our thing. So that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah. All right. What do we got next, man?
Let's go ahead and talk about something that's not on the docket, but let's talk about Ryan. Let's go ahead and talk about Ryan. We will talk about Ryan right now.
Satin? Yeah.
So Ryan Satin, our good friend over at the Pro Wrestling Sheet, is now leaving the Pro Wrestling Sheet behind. The entity that he built when he left TMZ to bring that over, and then Collider bought the Pro Wrestling Sheet and brought over Ryan and his crew, and then they did Wrestling Sheet Radio and different stuff from there. John, you were a part of it. He had people like Jay Washington on. He had me doing some writing for the site. I got to host a show that was on the network for a little bit. Right. And so our good friend is saying goodbye, but he did also post right after that, stay tuned. So something's coming. Just don't know exactly what it is. And I don't know exactly what it is. I did text him. We did do a little text back and forth, but that's it. He didn't tell me any specifics, but that it was coming soon and stay tuned. So that's all I know so far.
He's always got moves in his back pocket. That's Ryan Satin. He's smart enough to know and understand. He's a tremendous amount of belief in himself, and he has a good stable of people who understand the business, both on the site and on TV and on camera. But those are those things that Ryan and I spoke about. We had some really great conversations behind the scenes while we were there at Collider talking about, how do we do the show? What's the right thing for the show? What's got to look like? What is some funny things we can do? Ways to play, with the Raw and SmackDown recaps. Those were a lot of fun to do, and doing the occasional pay-per-view recaps as well was a lot of fun to do. It was great to have someone who's as steeped into wrestling, so you could just have fun with them and have a fun back and forth. And he never took it too seriously. Even when we saw us going at each other afterwards, we were fine later. It was just two Latinos slamming their ram horns together about an issue, which I really liked. I liked the fact that we could go toe to toe and no one carried it over into the next day. It was just how we were built. You know what I'm saying? And so Ryan was incredibly nice to keep me going, doing the wrestling stuff there at Collider, because, I was doing so many things there to try to stay as unfireable as possible, which of course in the end didn't really work out for me, but it kind of maybe did work out for me, so to speak, considering how good the channel's doing. But at the time, it was really great to have Ryan there and talk a bunch of wrestling and have all that kind of stuff. And it was so much fun. And, and I hope I'm not speaking out of turn, but he told me on a number of occasions, you've always welcomed me in this place with open arms, and you were always good to me. And not everyone was. And so I felt a sense of pride in that, because I always respected Ryan and what he did, because people who had never started a site ran a successful site or were successful doing a site felt like they had all the advice in the world, or they felt like they knew what the right things to do were, and they had no idea. Ryan put so much of his heart and his work and his blood, sweat, and tears into that site, and took a lot of shit sometimes to try to get that thing right. So I give him so much credit for all the stuff he was able to endure, and he always had his heart in the right place. He always wanted to do right by everybody. He never was out there trying to screw anybody on purpose. And I always appreciated that. He could be opinionated, or he was opinionated, but he was never like mean. And I appreciated that about Ryan. And I'm excited to see what he does next, man. Because, I mean, he got onto Fox, that Fox WWE show backstage. I mean, that's pretty incredible to jump from what he was doing at Collider all the way up to the WWE and doing a show with Renee Young and all those people involved there. So sky's the limit for Ryan, to be honest with you.
The thing that's cool about Ryan is, like, I know a lot of people think he's super like WWE centric, and a lot of people are like, well, you're paid by WWE because you're on backstage.
Yeah.
Dude is like the straightest arrow I've ever heard, like when it comes to wrestling commentary. Yeah, he will say good things about WWE, but he will also criticize it. Yeah. He will say good things about AEW, but he will also criticize it.
Yeah.
And I always like that about him. Like, his opinions were straight down the middle. Yeah. And a lot of people say that they're not. And I'm here to tell you, believe me, I've been in the car with this guy for hours. They are. They are. We've had conversations. They are. They are straight down the middle. And he gives both companies good and both companies shit. So stop giving him shit about being a WWE mark. But anyway.
Exactly. Because, like, what he liked about the WWE may not be what you liked about the WWE. What you didn't like is what he liked, and what he didn't like, you liked. So does that, when you like something, does that make you a WWE mark? Those are the things, right? So I say that to the fans, not obviously to Aaron, but to the fans. Those things. Same thing with AEW, saying those, all that kind of stuff. You know, it's just people are looking for something to get upset about. And if you don't have the same exact opinion about every single issue that they do, then you're definitely a mark, or you're a shill, or what have you. And I mean, when he took the WWE, or the Fox job rather, working on WWE programming, he took so much shit for that. And I was like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about. Ryan will absolutely tell you about stuff that doesn't work, and he'll tell you about stuff that he does work. He just keeps it in a certain, he just presents it in a certain way that isn't meant to like set fire to everything. And so people get upset about that. It's not far enough for them. And I always thought it was ridiculous. He did a great job, man. And he worked his ass off. I mean, hours and hours every day trying to make that site work. And he was successful at it. Not a lot of people can say that, man. And so more power to him. I hate that he's no longer going to run the site. I don't know what's going to happen, because I have no, obviously I have no connections back in that place. I don't have any insider information to find out what they're going to do with that site. But whoever's going to take that site over has a massive job ahead of them to fill the boots, the wrestling boots of Ryan Satin. That is not easy, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just sitting here thinking, what happens to it? Does it keep the same juice that it had? Because every day Ryan had like 5-6 stories updating that site. Yeah. And like you said, his work, I feel like we're talking about him like he's dead. He's not dead. No, but it's just his work ethic was second to none, man. Like, I got the opportunity to go with him to the PC. I've talked about this many times, the Performance Center, just to be the camera guy, because he knew I wanted to go, and he knew I lived in Orlando, and it was an opportunity to go. Yeah. And while my camera work was not the best, I'm not an amateur, I'm not a pro camera guy by any means.
That's all right.
But so we went to that, and so much fun, man. And I think he just knew that I wanted to do it, and that's why, and it would make me happy. So that's why he did it. And that's why we did that. And I mean, the dude called me when my dad had died and checked in on me. So, I mean, you can't really ask for a better friend than that. That's right. To check in on you. And I mean, he let me do a podcast on his own thing. He barely knew me. He never met me in person. Yeah. Till much later. Yeah. So, I mean, I always be grateful for that. Let me write on the site when he didn't have to do that. Right. I almost got full time on the site, but I'm not able to because of my current work schedule, which would have been awesome to work with him more, but that's just how it goes. Yeah. And I've nothing but good things to say about Ryan. Always been nice to me. Always been a stand-up guy. Always wish him nothing but the best. And like you said, that support system that he has, second to none, man. Yep. Everybody's got his back, and that's awesome to see. Absolutely agreed. Wish you best. I'm sure they'll be updating. I'm trying my hardest to get him on the show, man. I'm definitely be texting him. I'm sure you come on the damn show, man. Yeah, come on the damn show. Kissed your ass enough at this point. Jesus, I know, seriously. 10 minutes of ass kissing. Come on the show, Brian. We marked out for you like crazy. Get on the show. All right.
All right, what's up, man?
All right, let's talk about Matt Cardona leaving All Elite Wrestling. This kind of came as a shock to me. Like, I'm a big fan of Matt Cardona and Brian Myers' podcast, the Major Wrestling Figure podcast.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, the intro usually starts with Brian saying, hey, I'm Impact Wrestling superstar Brian Myers. And then Matt Cardona would say, I'm AEW superstar Matt Cardona. Well, he stopped saying that.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, what happened? Like, I thought he was with AEW, and then I go looking on the internet, and no, his contract is expired. It was just a short-term deal to come and help Cody with the Dark Order stuff. So he's only there for about a month.
Wow.
And I was just very confused because I was thinking of all people, because him and Cody are best friends in real life. Like, I was thinking, of course, Matt Cardona would be there because he's jacked to the nines. He looks like an AEW guy. Yeah. Like, what happened here? And I'm just all very confused that this guy, they don't want to sign this guy. It was just a short-term deal. Threw me for a loop.
Yeah. Yeah, it was weird. I don't understand why that was. Did Matt just need to work this angle to make some money and do whatever? Or was this kind of a behind-the-scenes tryout, but they only signed him for a little while to see how he'd get on with the fans, because maybe they suspect there's a ceiling for him and can't go too much farther than what he's already done. And that's, that may be possible, Aaron. So there's like a month, helped us out, blah, blah, blah. I guarantee you, if he blew the doors off in terms of merch sales and attention and audience interaction and all that, this wouldn't be over. They'd find a way to keep him. They'd find a way to pay whatever the sum is if they could afford it to keep him going in this thing. Because where does Matt go next? He's not going back to WWE. Right. So where does he go next?
That is the question. And I mean, he was asked about what happened when the deal ended, and he said, with AEW, obviously that's the place to be right now. You hear for years, this is the new promotion that's coming, and it never does. But AEW did come, and when I was released from WWE, I said I definitely want to go there and try it out. Luckily for me, I'm good friends with Cody Rhodes, who has just a little bit of stroke over there, to come out and do that for a month, do a couple matches, do a pay-per-view. It was a lot of fun just to be out there and to be me again. I loved it, and hopefully we will do it again soon. Yeah. So the door is definitely not closed for Cardona, but dude, like, he's not young by any wrestling means.
No, he really is.
So how many jump starts do we have left in this guy's career? And I'm a fan. So if it's me saying this, there's got to be other people that aren't fans that are thinking this as well. Like, what is the new ceiling for Matt Cardona? Like, what is going on here? And I would like to see him back with AEW, but I think a better spot for him, honestly, would be Impact Wrestling. I think Impact is doing a lot better with that previously released WWE talent, your Eric Youngs, your EC3s, your Brian Myers, than AEW has done. Even with the short stable of people that they got, their Tay Contis and people like that. So that's where I'd like to see him end up. I don't know if he's open to that. Maybe he wants more money. I'm not sure, but I think it's a better fit for him right now than AEW, and you can always go back there.
Right. Look, and he's a mid-carder. Let's be real. He's not a headliner. He's a mid-carder. So you got to apply your trade where you can, and you got to keep it the money train going and the meal train going. And so if you want to roll on over to Impact and see what you can do there, and like you said, they seem to be treating former WWE wrestlers better in terms of storyline, in terms of the matches that they're putting on than, let's say, the stuff that's going on at AEW. There's no knock on AEW, just they can't seem to kind of put it other than Jericho, really, and a couple other people. They can't really seem to kind of make that work with the former WWE people. So maybe you're right. Maybe they're just people who understand these former WWE people better at Impact and can move them seamlessly into the storylines and make it work. I mean, even the Gage storyline's kind of, it's like it hasn't been that much,
dude.
Huh?
It's a wet fart.
Yeah, it's been a wet fart, right? And you're like, God, you got him. And you made a huge deal out of it. And then it's like, okay, well, these are the kind of mistakes that you see happening now. And look, I think AEW is closer on the precipice than people want to say. I think it's close to being like start drop. I know there've been a couple nights where they've done well with their ratings, but like, I just feel like there's too many storylines that are going by the wayside and that they're not getting 100% right. And so I don't fault Cardona maybe going like, you know what, maybe this isn't for me. Maybe it wasn't Cody Rhodes' decision. Maybe it was Matt's decision. He's like, I just don't like the storylines you're proposing. It doesn't work for me. I tried it out for a month. It's not for me. Let me go see what else is out there. And maybe Impact is a better situation for him, and we'll see him there. Or I mean, shit, I wouldn't mind seeing him back. Maybe he does a couple of stints in the underground of the WWE, getting paid a little bit of cash for occasional one-offs. Who knows?
Raw Underground with Matt Cardona. No, I don't see that happening. But I mean, he's such a good talent behind the scenes as well, doing the internet shows and he has such a huge internet following. I believe he has over 1 million followers on Twitter. So he's that kind of guy that can really get a boost with this, like get his numbers up on social and get people really excited about what he's doing. But you just have to have the story and the backing to put it into fruition and to really boost your stardom. And it just isn't happening for this guy. Right. And I'm not sure why, but I hope he can turn it around.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll keep tabs on it. That's for damn sure. We got a couple of super chats that rolled through here. I haven't seen any Streamlabs people, but hopefully you'll send some through before we're done here on the show. Chris Miner says, I work at Disney here in Orlando and I'm terrified of the good chance of being laid off soon. Thank you guys for being a great distraction. Yeah, it's an unfortunate situation right now, right, Aaron?
Yeah, it's a big thing around here. I have a lot of friends that work at Disney, and they are feeling the same way. One of my best friends works there in Olga's Cantina, and he's sweating it every day. Him and his wife both work there. So it's a very sad situation. I've seen it pop up on my timeline a lot. I used to work there as well. Got a lot of friends there still, and it really pains me to see that. Just an unfortunate situation at the times. I hope you don't get laid off. I hope everything goes well. I hope you get to stay on. And I mean, whatever we can do to support you, whatever the best way is to support, Disney keeping people, if it's going and spending money, I mean, I do that. So I'm trying to help. I don't know a better way to help these people out. It's very unfortunate.
Yeah. And you're seeing the axe fall really big time in the California situation too, because that's not even open, I mean, so like already, and I saw the numbers like 28,000. And my feeling on this is real simple. I think every single executive involved with the parks needs to open their books and show us all their salaries, show us all their bonuses, and let us take a look and decide for ourselves if we really believe that you need to be laying off this many people. Because if maybe the option is cutting y'all's salaries and cutting y'all's bonuses completely so that these people can stay employed and have their health insurance, then I think that's a better way to go. And it's not socialism. It's about caring about the American worker. And I think these people who go and bring so much joy to people who come to that park, and they endure an incredible amount of shit from those same guests and some of those executives and some of those managers who work there, or general managers who work there, rather, not the managers on the low end, but like the general managers who work there. I think 1,000% there should be, and if there should be an independent watchdog organization that takes a look. The second you're going to fire or let go of this many people, they take a look at your books and investigate it before they let these people go, because there's no way this should be happening at the level that it's happening, and these people get to have like their 6 houses or 4 houses or 3 houses and cars and what have you, when they could be surrendering some of that money up so these people can feed their families, these people can get looked at healthcare wise, because they're down there on the ground floor. The whole reason you even are an executive and have anything to execute is because you have these people on the ground floor satisfying customers there at your parks. So that needs to be taken into account a little bit more than it is, in my opinion.
I've never known a manager that deserved a punch in the mouth more than my Disney manager. And I'll just leave it at that. Never deserved one more than that guy.
That's fair. I got a few managers that I can make. All right. Justin Lopez says, I think Cardona returns when the second show launches. Do you think that's a possibility for AEW?
You keep hearing the second show. It's not going to be AEW Dark. They're going to come out with like their version of SmackDown. So we'll see what happens. I mean, they're going to need more talent for that, Justin. So I think that's a good possibility. And you could have your mid-carders, your lower ends there. Not bad at all.
Yeah. How about this? Zack Ryder returns to WWE as a Twitch streamer and feuds with Vince McMahon.
Yeah, man. I saw what Paige said about that. Like she put out this big long statement saying how she had built her Twitch fan base, that it wasn't WWE that helped build it. And it just, man, it was this big long thing about how she worked really hard to build her fans up and do all this stuff, and the WWE has kind of come in and kind of taken it away from her. 100% right about that, and I feel bad for those of them did build it off of WWE's back.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't think. Yeah, I think you can 100% say Paige built everything up without the WWE, but you can't 100% say the WWE was the only reason Paige built her stuff up. Like there are plenty of stars who don't cross that don't cross that million mark, or don't cross so many people. Paige works hard to do her stuff outside of the WWE, but if she hadn't become successful as a person in the WWE, who knows what if she would have been as successful, or, attracting attention and getting followers and subscribers for her Twitch channel. So they are intertwined. I just don't think they're intertwined at the level that WWE claims that it is, and I also don't think they're intertwined at the lower level that Paige thinks they are. Like Christian and I battle all the time about who came up with the Outlaw. I mean, I came up with the Outlaw. He claims to come up with the design of it, that he needed a heel. So it's like Hogan and Vince. Like, we just battle about it all the time, right? Who really came up with Hulkamania? And the same thing with Paige here. Who really came up with the popularity, or really kind of was instrumental in the popularity of Paige? And I think it's, 6 1 half a dozen of the other. But with other people, like Alexa can't claim that she's popular outside the WWE. She's very intertwined with the WWE. But there are other people, other wrestlers, other personalities. Like Lana doesn't necessarily rely on the WWE to build up what she builds up, So there's case by case basis, in my opinion.
Damn. Okay. Yeah. There you have it.
Yeah.
Speaking of potential plan shifts, let's talk about this plan shift that's going to be good for me, bad for people in California. Sorry, Rocha.
Okay.
This comes from Inside the Ropes from Gary Cassidy. This dropped. It's kind of a low-key story that dropped yesterday. Not a lot of people are talking about it.
Yeah.
But there are tentative plans in place for WrestleMania 37, which was slated to be in Hollywood or Inglewood, California next year, is going to be in Tampa, Florida, which it was supposed to be this year. Of course, they had to change everything and run it from the PC here.
Right.
Ended up being pretty good, I think. But it looks like WrestleMania may move from California back to Florida.
Wow.
So what do you think about this? And just for the record, when tickets become available, I am going.
Okay.
I'm 100% going. If this is true, if this ends up being 100% true, I'm 100% going. COVID be damned, I'm going. But what do you think of this decision? And if you have the opportunity, will you go?
I think we should go as press and cover the damn thing. So I'm 1,000% behind that idea of going. As long as they foot the bill. I have a friend who works for a particular website, and they fly him all over the country to cover WWE stuff, put him up in a hotel, pay for his flight, et cetera, because he works for a big site. So I was like, I get that idea. I'd like them to do that for all the press, and not every press gets to get that advantage, but I'd like that to happen. So if that were to happen, 1,000% I get behind it. I would not buy the ticket to go, just go on my own, because I think there's a danger there, especially in Florida with all the things that are happening right now. I don't know if I'd put myself in that kind of situation. However, for press to cover it, that's different, because you're going to be up there and you're going to be socially distanced from other people, so you'll be able to cover it. So what have you? I mean, Aaron and I might have to stand 6 feet away from each other to cover it, but it still would be fun to do it. So yes, I don't think it's a bad thing to just leave in LA. LA right now is not where you want to be. I mean, that's part of the reason why I moved, to be honest with you. It was becoming such a hotbed, and this felt like the right decision to make at this time. And we're getting out of a place where COVID is kind of raging all over the place, because there's so many people walking around without masks on. There's so many people at these restaurants that are not standing or sitting 6 feet away from each other at these tables. And there's so much chance to get this thing because people are just careless. And so I didn't want to get involved in that situation. So that's what you see here. WWE smart. They understand that LA is not going to open anytime soon. And this kind of situation, there's no way they're bringing fans. If the Rams and the Chargers can't get fans in the stadium, do you think you're going to be able to get fans in your WrestleMania stadium? There's no way Gavin Newsom lets that happen. So I think it's a smart move by Vince to try to do something to try to recoup some kind of financial windfall from his greatest event every year. So I don't fault him for it, to be honest with you. And that's the way it goes.
Well, I mean, let's be fair. I don't think the Chargers were pulling in people if they were allowed to anyway. Let's be honest. Let's be honest.
You said that. I did.
I did say that, but yeah, man. I'm. It's no secret. You know, Florida has opened up to phase 3, which is, from what I understand, it's like essentially we're all just open season.
Yeah,
and everybody can just not wear a mask if they want to, but it's up to a store's discretion. Like I went to, it's effective immediately. So I went to Home Depot today to get some stuff, and you still got to wear a mask.
Yes.
I went to the store today, still got to wear a mask. It's at it's at each entity's discretion.
Right.
But there's some places where now it's like, I think Walmart is one of them, where they're just like, you can wear a mask if you want, but you don't have to. So that essentially tells me you don't have to, which is a bad thing. And there was a couple of restaurants that people were telling me around here, some locals were telling me that they're like done with the whole social distance thing. Like they're side by side, no mask, no nothing. Right. I'm just like, man, I'm not in a world where this is still happening and I'm still knowing people that are getting it and it's not good and the president has it. Like, I'm not willing to take that kind of risk to not wear a mask and be socially distant from people. But they have enough time right now. I mean, we're in October. WrestleMania is not till April, so it's about 6 months away. Right. There's enough time to where they can put a plan in place to either do like what they've done at the football games, like the cardboard cutouts and people like every so often. They have enough time to do this. And Tampa, like Raymond James Stadium, is big enough to where even if there are 20,000 fans instead of whatever it holds, I'm sure it holds like 70,000 or something like that. Right. It won't make a big difference on TV. The presentation will still look good. It'll sound good. Yeah. And as long as they can work all that out, I'm definitely going.
I mean, look at the college football stands. There's a lot of these universities that allow fans to show up. Half of them aren't wearing masks. More than half of them aren't wearing masks. They're congregating down there near the front row, and it's just to get a shot at looking at the game. That's college football. This is like professional wrestling with way more followers per wrestler than these college football teams have. And so you look at that situation, it's like people are going to do the same thing in Raymond James Stadium. They're going to find a way to come together. It's this need to be near people, man. People have a desire when they go to these public events. They don't want to sit off by themselves, or they might as well be watching it at their house. There isn't that kind of connectivity, that electricity you feel when you're standing next to somebody watching a pretty cool move or surprising a result, rather. All of that is there. So, yeah, I mean, I could see it happening in Raymond James Stadium, absolutely, but I don't see people keeping their distance the whole time during the event. It's too tempting to want to be near people and share a reaction of a surprise moment that happens at the WWE.
That's true. And hugging your friends and what's the situation going to be like? Are there going to be pods? Like what's the deal? Right. I'm looking it up right now, and it looks like Raymond James Stadium capacity is 65,000. Oh, okay. So if you're getting 20% of that or 50% of that, that's still a lot of people. Yes, that are going to be at this thing, and that would be my guess. If we're already Florida, you can have 20%. So today at the Gators game, there was 15,000 people there. Wow. So that my guess will be that it'll be 50% by the time WrestleMania rolls around, unless the vaccine or something happens. That's just my guess. So at 50,000 people, you're looking at 33,000 people in a stadium socially distanced. That's going to be a challenge. But but you got 6 months to figure it out. So figure it out so I can go. That's all I can say.
I'll just put plexiglass between each of the rows.
Oh my God, it would be so hot and miserable.
It would be. But you wanted to go.
It's going to be hot and miserable anyway. I don't know what I'm.
That's true. Maybe you should wrestle on ice so it doesn't get so hot. All right, let's move on to some super chats here before we move on to our next thing here. Justin Toner said, "I am loving heel Roman Reigns. Looking forward to the rematch with Jay at Hell in a Cell. Same for Sasha versus Bayley. Good feuds happening on SmackDown." Aaron, do you agree?
Yeah, man, SmackDown's been really great. One thing I'm disappointed in they're doing with Sasha Banks and Bayley is they're giving Sasha Banks a title shot next week. Yeah. Wait a minute, this is a pay-per-view match. What are we doing here? They should be Hell in a Cell against each other. That sounds like a good blow-off. Yeah. Unless they're going to extend it, then I'm okay with it. When you first said Jay, I thought you meant me and Jay Washington are fighting. I didn't realize that we were fighting. He is the wink asleep. Goodbye. And you know what I'm saying there, but no, he did great. He was in the top 2, right?
He was in the top 2, but
he did amazing. I watched it the other day. He did really great. So shout out to him for doing that. Absolutely. But yeah, SmackDown's been really amazing. Roman Reigns now is the head chief or the whatever they're calling him of the Anawahi family. It's a really cool scenario that I think they're building to his WrestleMania opponent, which I have a feeling might be The Rock.
Yeah, I think
so. Let's just wait and see how that goes. That's another reason I want to go to WrestleMania, because I would actually like to see a heel Roman Reigns versus a babyface Rock. That would be amazing.
Aaron, it would be WrestleMania 18 all over again. The aged, a former, icon against the young buck who is in his prime. We've lived long enough, Aaron, where Rock has become the Hogan. Rock has become the Hogan in that scenario, and Roman Reigns is the Rock, and that'd be so cool. I mean, I'd be concerned because the Rock, of course, tore his ribs the last time he wrestled John Cena. So the first time he wrestled John Cena, then took the loss clean the second time. So you worry about the situation with him and if he'd be willing to put his body through that, because I do know, not from personal experience, but I do know like some of these action films have really taken that out of him. And, the body doubles who stand in, or the stand-ins rather, the action stand-ins really do have to do that for him because he has issues at times physically moving. So to see him take on wrestling, I don't know. I'd like to see what his body and what his condition is in, because the last thing we need is The Rock, anything happening to The Rock. Nobody wants that to happen, man. He's the most beloved dude on the planet. And if he wanted to run for president tomorrow,
he'd be elected.
He'd be elected. He would absolutely destroy Trump and Biden in a heartbeat. It wouldn't even be a question. All right, we'll see. And I'm loving Roman Reigns too. I'd love that match. Him and Jay put on an awesome match. And you know what? It's great to see Jay kind of busting out on his own and see what he can do. And that's family too, like helping both of them, helping family. It's great. DGMC said, whose WWE return would cost more, Rock or Punk? Rock.
Dollar-wise, I would say The Rock. I mean, Vince is always going to get The Rock at a discount because of their relationship. But at this point, I don't think there's any interest in CM Punk returning. I think that ship sailed a long time ago. I don't want to see it, and I really don't care.
I think when he came back on Backstage, it was, and look, I love Punk to pieces, but when he came back on Backstage, it was like kind of flaccid because you were getting a half a Punk, you were getting a Punk. He's still speaking his truth and what have you, but it kind of just didn't have that same edge to it, man, that you loved about Punk in the past. And so having him come back, I think it would depend on how you build it up, how he'd come back and what who his opponents would be and if it would make sense. Lord knows, Aaron, we've lived long enough where we've seen enough people come back from the past and they fumble it, and it isn't as cool as you hoped. So I'd hate for them to do that with Punk, but I think Rock would absolutely cost more because it's the fucking Rock. Even with a discount, he costs more than Punk. J-Dog says, I'm going, then seeing No Time to Die days later. Oh, okay. All right. If he goes to WrestleMania.
I will see you there, and I will probably see you at the movie theater to see No Time to Die as well. Excited to see it. They're just going to keep pushing it and pushing it and pushing it. It feels like an Avatar sequel at this point.
Yeah.
Just keep pushing it, boys. Keep pushing it.
It's a great point, man. I don't know what's going to happen with it, to be honest with you, but I'm looking forward to seeing it when I do. And the fact that we're now in San Diego, dude, I'm going to definitely get out and see Tenet sometime this week in IMAX if it's still showing in theaters in IMAX, and see if it's any good and do a late-ass review on it that maybe 10 people will watch. But F it, I want to do it, so I'm going to do that.
I'll send you some YouTube reviews that explain it when you're done.
I like that.
It's going to take a minute.
Apparently, Greg Alba's girlfriend figured it out during the movie and whispered it to Greg. Yeah, and apparently whispered it to Greg the whole time, dude. So,
that would piss me off. Wait, I so mad.
I got to read you this tweet. We just got text. I just got a text from Ryan Satin. I got to read it. He said, "Thank you very much for the kind words on the show today. I'm sitting here in my car, all teary-eyed. Ha ha. Don't worry though. I'll still be around. I'm sure I can do a guest thing on your show at some point." There you go. He said, by the way, I dig the look of your new on-camera setup in San Diego. Lighting is great and the background looks very official. Well done. Thank you.
I wonder what he says about mine.
I appreciate I love that lamp in the background. It's perfect.
Oh, geez.
Thank you, brother. Thank you for still watching, man. I appreciate it. You're very kind, my man.
He texted me too, but I can't repeat what he said.
Justin Lopez said, I'm actually glad they're pushing back the LA WrestleMania. If they're going to do an LA WrestleMania, they have to do it right. It's too soon, and I wouldn't feel comfortable traveling from New York, and I love LA. Absolutely agree with you, Justin. They got to do it right. If they're going to do it in LA, if it's going to be part of this reopening of LA, you kind of want to do it right. The WWE has never shied away from wanting to be part of massive events. So why wouldn't they wait until they could get this 100% right, rather than doing kind of not that their effort would be half-assed, but kind of a half-assed approach to it, in that you couldn't fill the whole stadium. There'd be some controversy around it. You don't want that necessarily involved with WWE for WrestleMania, their premier event every year. So, yeah, I agree. What do you think, Aaron?
Yeah, I think that's probably right. I mean, if you're traveling across the United States to go especially to LA right now, or Texas, or I mean, dare I say, even Florida. The way that at least our rolling average has gone down a lot. Sorry for talking about this kind of stuff. It's not wrestling related, but it has gone down. Yeah, it has gone down enough to where, I mean, people are feeling comfortable. A lot of people are vacationing here. Universal just announced like they had a huge. Their attendance has been huge, way more than it's been in the past.
Yeah,
but they haven't changed the capacity limits. The capacity limits are still the same, but these theme parks are starting to see the build of more people, not necessarily from different countries, but around the United States. So people are traveling. It's just you weigh what you want.
Yeah,
like do you feel safe enough? And if you don't, then it ain't no thing, man. That's on you. That's totally fine. And if you got people around you that are immune compromised or stuff like that, high risk, don't risk it.
Yeah.
But ultimately, it's up to you. I am in a situation where I don't necessarily have that, so I feel comfortable enough to go. And I know I joke about like, oh, I'm going no matter what. But if there was an outbreak or something crazy happening between now and then, like even crazier, I should say, I would back off of that in a heartbeat. Like, ultimately, it's up to me to make that decision, as it is you.
Right. That's fair. We got some Streamlabs here real quick as well. Christian Ramos says, hey guys, just curious on your opinions on the Twitch and other platform situations with the wrestlers in the WWE getting threatened to be released. I think a lot of wrestlers might actually choose to leave due to the COVID outbreaks and keep their accounts. What do you think about that, Aaron? If they do choose to leave, though, wouldn't the WWE kind of sue them a little bit if they kept going with their accounts, or have lay claim to them, or put a cease and desist? I don't know. What do you think could happen here?
I mean, as long as you're not running your Twitch account as Cesaro, I think you'll be all right. If you're running your account as Claudio Castagnoli, his real name, I think that'd be fine. So it just depends on what you want to do. Also, there's contracts. So I don't think you can just be like, I'm out. Especially in a time with AEW around the corner, and they're holding, they're signing people up so AEW doesn't get them. I don't think that's going to be an easy option for a lot of people. Right. Someone like Paige, that's not on television lately since Backstage is gone. She was on that, but she's not going to be an in-ring person due to her injuries.
Right.
She could be somebody I could see leaving, but like the main people that are super active on Twitch, your Zelina Vegas, your Adam Coles, your Xavier Woods, and AJ Styles, people like that, they're not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It doesn't, Twitch be damned, they're not going anywhere. And they're still going to make money from doing, Xavier Woods as up, down, down. They're still going to make money from doing other stuff. I don't know how much this Twitch thing hurts those people, the people that are on the higher side of it. I know Paige has a lot of followers and does a lot of stuff on Twitch, but she's the kind of person that I could see leaving. Because she's not someone that's used on screen a lot, but like someone like Zelina Vega, no way, dude. She's not leaving.
Yeah, that's fair. That's right. She's not. Lewis Cox says it's hot in here. LOL. Love you guys. All right.
It's hot in here too. That's why I have the ceiling fan, Manny, and people in the chat that are saying nice ceiling fan. It's hot in here. Damn it.
It is hot in here. Yeah, I got my fan, my Vornado fan right in front of me for sure. Let's see here. Ratnick says, even with fans, any chance Mania is 2 nights again to try and have 20,000 fans each night, essentially?
See, now that is an interesting idea, Ratnick, and I like where your head's at to make it, but you have to make it Saturday, Sunday. You can't make it Sunday, Monday because of the travel, and people will be going back to work on Monday. So you want to make it set in plus Monday Night Raw. So you want to make it Saturday, Sunday. If they do that, like let's say they take NXT Takeover, it's Friday, then WrestleMania Night 1 Saturday, WrestleMania Night 2 Sunday, that'd be awesome.
Yeah,
that would be a nice breather for the fans. I know I've been to one WrestleMania. I went to WrestleMania 33, I think it was. Undertaker Roman Reigns was the main event. I went to that one, and I can tell you, sitting for 8 hours out in the Florida sun, no fun. No fun doing that. But I had a great time. It was just hot as hell outside. And I think it would, by the time that last match comes, you're so exhausted. Even watching it on TV, it's absolutely exhausting to watch. So this past WrestleMania was such a good change of pace. I would like to see them implement that more, unless they're not going to have such a large card. If you're going to have 12 matches, break it up, please. Make it over 2 days, 6 and 6. That's easily digestible. But to put 12 matches on one day, that's kind of tough, especially today with the short attention spans that we all have. It's tough to make that work.
Yeah, agreed. All right, let's see if we got one more. Oh, Hill Nellums. Hey, Hill, good to see you again, man. Hill said, got my Strong Style shirt yesterday.
Yeah, nice.
Awesome. Can't wait to rock this quality wrestling merch. My brain says Balor, but I'm giving an edge to O'Reilly this Sunday over Balor. In a hope the Cole/O'Reilly feud from Ring of Honor gets resurrected. Who you got? All right. Well, we should want to transition to the AEW or the NXT Takeover preview there, Aaron.
Yeah, do you have it there, or do I need to call it out?
I'll bring it up right now. Yeah, okay. That's right. That's one of the matches. For Hill Nellums, let's build up to that and answer your questions for sure.
Yes, sir. We're going to.
Yeah, let's start here. This is the NXT Takeover preview section of the show in case I want to cut this out. So this is happening tomorrow night. So we're recording this happening tomorrow night, October 4th. They're on the network. Kushida is taking on Velvet Dream. This is interesting.
Velveteen Dream?
I'm sorry, Velveteen Dream.
Your boy?
Yeah, this is such a interesting situation going on here because of all the crap that not crap. How can I say this correctly? Because of all the stuff that happened around a Velveteen Dream. So you tell me what you're feeling here in this situation.
My feeling is this: Kushida comes out, beats up the Velveteen Dream, and it's like out of left field. You're like, why is Kushida doing this? Because he's an ultimate babyface. He's got the Marty McFly stuff going on, the Back to the Future gimmick with the hoverboard lock and that whole entrance thing. It's great. Yeah. Then he comes out and attacks the Velveteen Dream, and people are like, what the hell's going on? Puts him in the arm lock, and all of a sudden, you've got a heel Kushida going up against the baby-faced Velveteen Dream. But here's the deal, though. If you're not going to put Kushida over the Velveteen Dream, why are you doing this?
Right.
Because Kushida needs a landmark win in NXT because he's been kind of in, out. He was in the Cruiserweight tournament. He didn't quite win the Cruiserweight belt, so we're going to have to do something with him. He's well-known in Japan, well-known, well-respected in Japan. I think he actually beats the Velveteen Dream tonight. Big landmark win for Kushida tonight.
Do you think they're putting the Velveteen Dream through his paces? Do you think they're making him take some hits and take some losses as a kind of like payback for what he's kind of put the company through, but then also trying to get him to be like an underdog and get to be beloved again by the fans as a lovable loser until he turns things around? Do you think that's also part of it as well as a PR spin?
I don't know if it's necessarily a PR spin. I think it's just we need someone that can match up with Kushida that people will be invested in, that we feel like he could actually beat, and it would be a big deal. And I think that was what they went with. They said, okay, they looked around the locker room and said, okay, Velveteen Dream, give me him. I think that'll work out great. So
okay. All right. Next one is the NXT Cruiserweight Championship between Santos Escobar, who is the champion, versus Isaiah Swerve Scott. All right. What do you got in this one, Aaron?
Oh boy. Okay, so this here's why I like this match a lot. Lucha Underground, I'm a big fan. So you have Santos Escobar, who used to be in Lucha Underground, and then you have Isaiah Swerve Scott, who also used to be in Lucha Underground.
Right.
You have King Cuerno versus what was his name? Killshot is what his name was in Lucha Underground. So you have these two going at it, two of the best wrestlers in the world that nobody seems to be talking about. Right. I'm a huge fan of Isaiah Swerve Scott. I think he's got nothing but potential, unlimited potential for this guy to be something really big in NXT and then go on to WWE. Santos Escobar, another guy that has unlimited potential, looks great, sounds great on the mic, great champion, great villain heel. It's going to be a great match. This one will steal the show. Mark my words on it, but I'm going to go with the champ Santos Escobar in this one.
Okay. I agree with you. I think Santos Escobar takes this one as well. I also think Kushida wins tomorrow. Kushida wins over Velveteen because I agree with you. What's the point if you're not going to give him the win? Unless you're just going to say, here you go, and bye, we'll catch you later. Which makes no sense considering the amount of time they put into Kushida. All right, NXT North American Championship. This is going to be great. Damian Priest versus Johnny Gargano. Are we going to take that? I mean, the belt's been kind of changing hands like a hot potato lately, Aaron, due to injuries and other reasons. What do you think here in this situation? Do you think Gargano gets the belt again? Do they want to give Johnny the belt?
Man, I don't know. This is an interesting one because Johnny Gargano keeps having amazing takeover matches. And they don't call him Johnny Takeover. They don't call him Johnny Takeover for nothing.
Yeah,
that's why they call him that. So, and you have Damian Priest, who's this dude that's really on the rise and has been really great lately. Got the North American title after that ladder match, which was really great that Gargano was in. So I tend to believe that they're going to keep the title on Damian Priest, but then again, you have this also burrowing storyline between Johnny Gargano and Candice LeRae, where they're both trying to get titles.
Yeah.
So it'd also be weird if one or both didn't win. So reluctantly, I'm going to go with Johnny Gargano, though I don't want it to happen because I like what I've seen from Damian Priest.
Yeah, and they were building up Damian Priest for a long time to put that strap on him. It might have been a little bit too early because of situations, but that doesn't mean he didn't earn it. And so now that he's carrying it, it seems weird to take it off him. And Gargano, I mean, Gargano could lose a million times. It wouldn't matter. People love him, and he wouldn't lose any luster or any of his, any of the swerve that he's got, or swag rather, that he's got. He's there. People love him and what have you. But I love what you mentioned is really, really interesting. The idea that him and Candice LeRae could end up being champions by the end of the night, something they've both been doing multiple vignettes about as they both had shots at belts over the last few months. So this could be very, very interesting. And why not? The both of them, I mean, she's essentially a female Johnny Gargano. She's been there so long, giving great matches almost every time that she's in the ring, has never really kind of gone fully up above into the next level yet, but, really holds it down in the female division. So I would be interested to see if they make that decision, because, I mean, Priest could always win it back at the next pay-per-view. This could be like a pay-per-view moment where you have Gargano and Candice LeRae. And let's move on to that one. Candice LeRae taking on Io Shirai for the NXT Women's Championship. Aaron, what are you feeling on this one?
Man, this is another one that hurts me because I love Io Shirai so much, but I like Candice LeRae too. This is one I could see actually going Candice LeRae's way. I like Io as champion, but I think and Justin Toner brought up something that I think is a good idea for Damian Priest as well. I think that it might be time that Damian Priest moves up. I think that it also might be time that Io Shirai moves up.
Oh, interesting.
Because they lost Kairi Sane. She's like the ambassador now. Yeah. So they have Asuka. I feel like they need another Japanese like killer woman, and I think that Io Shirai can be that killer for them. So put her on SmackDown, let her do her thing. I think she'd be great there. Yeah. Let Candice LeRae do her thing and let her feud with Rhea Ripley and people like that, Dakota Kai. I think she'd be great doing that. So I'm going to take Candice LeRae on here. Candice LeRae in this situation with Io Shirai going up. Yeah, and it could be interesting too for storylines that Candice wins, but Johnny doesn't. Could be interesting, right? Because he'd be like, well, I did my part. So you start to turn them against each other and then decide who's going to go face, who's going to go heel in that conversation. That could be a fun new twist to put into what they've been building together as a I don't know if they've ever been at odds with each other. Am I wrong on that in the history of NXT? They kind of did like a fake thing. It's just like, in that Ciampa match, the last Ciampa match that they had, Candice LeRae kicked him in the junk, but he was wearing a cup because it was all ruse. Like that was really about it. They've not really been too terribly at odds yet. Yeah. So it could be a good idea there
to play around. Who knows? All right, let's get to the granddaddy of them all in this rundown here. NXT Takeover 31. Finn Balor, the champion, taking on Kyle O'Reilly. This one, I mean, I know the other one you said was going to tear the house down. This will tear down whatever's left of the house after that one tears the house down.
This might burn the house and then sweep up the ashes. This might be even better. This is going to be something else, man. Like, I know Kyle O'Reilly in his NXT time has been nothing but really a tag team wrestler. Him and Bobby Fish, of course, if you remember the Redragon days, of course, as well. And Kyle O'Reilly is so damn good.
Yeah.
And you're going to see it on this takeover. You're going to see him against one of the best in the world, Finn Balor. You're going to get to see him do his thing. And it's going to lead up to the storyline where I think the Undisputed Era finally implodes. I saw somebody put up a graphic earlier, a meme that remember when Randy Orton won the title and he was on Batista's shoulders and Triple H gave the thumbs down. They did that, but they had Adam Cole giving the thumbs down to Kyle O'Reilly. So I could see that happening in Kyle O'Reilly and Adam Cole feuding, but it feels so soon to take that belt off of Finn Balor that just got it.
Yeah.
And you need this guy. You need Finn Balor. So if you're not going to do something with him in NXT, where are you going to do something with him? Yeah. Does he go back to SmackDown or Raw to try to become the Universal Champion or the WWE Champion?
Right.
Like, I hate to feel like he's the what do they call it? The gatekeeper.
Yeah.
I don't want him to be that way because he's so much more talented than that. I would like to see, if he's going to lose, then I need him to go to SmackDown or Raw and be like a good villain like he was when he started the Bullet Club.
Yeah.
That's what I want to see. But it's not really about that. This match is going to be Kyle O'Reilly's singles coming out party. It's going to be amazing. It's going to tear the house down, but I'm reluctantly going to go with Finn Balor here.
Yeah, I think you have to go with Finn Balor, like everything you just said. I mean, whenever I look at a big match, I always go like, who can lose and it's not that big of a deal? And I think with Kyle O'Reilly losing, it wouldn't be as big of a deal as it would be for Finn losing. By that I mean, it would look kind of bad for the company to work so hard to give Finn the belt and then just take it away from him as quickly as possible. It wouldn't make sense. Why'd you spend all that effort for that to happen? I get it. In the real world, anything can happen. Trust me. We're going to schmo down it. And no. But like in this situation where you've got the scripted results, you've got to decide, well, who's going to be serviced by this? If Kyle O'Reilly loses, nothing's going to really get lost in the Kyle O'Reilly fandom and on the train either. And maybe this is impetus where they move Kyle O'Reilly up. I mean, I would love to see him up there challenging some people and messing some shit up there in Raw or SmackDown. I'd be down with that over Finn going back. That's for sure. Kyle is kind of an X factor when he wrestles because 9 times out of 10 or 8 times out of 10 he's going to win, but you're always going to get a great match. And I've rarely seen him not have chemistry, whether tag team or singles, with anyone he wrestles with. So I'd like to see him put on a hell of a show, and it could be a way of putting Balor even more over with the fans, because, I mean, one of the reasons he moved down was he wasn't getting over on WWE Raw like he did when he first came onto the scene due to injuries or due to storyline booking that was kind of boring, what have you. So he's kind of been reborn down here with the NXT, and I agree with you, taking the title away from him wouldn't make sense. But if Kyle O'Reilly puts on a hell of a match, then the jump to the next level isn't that unbelievable if it happens, even though he didn't win the title.
But do we want it? That's the question. Do you want to see Finn Balor go back to NXT or go back to Raw or SmackDown and possibly get lost in the shuffle?
I don't.
I tend to think that he won't this time. I tend to think that he won't get lost in the shuffle or he will be gone.
Right.
So I kind of do want to see it. I kind of do want to see. I'm changing my pick.
Okay.
I'm going with Kyle O'Reilly now.
All right.
Because I want to see Finn Balor go back to. I want to see him go to Raw, and I want to see him do well on Raw and become one of the main stalwarts of the company again.
Yeah. I mean, we'll see. I think maybe Kyle jumps up. I'd be down with Kyle.
Good.
So we'll see. All right, let's see. Okay, well, that's our NXT Takeover 31 preview there. Aaron Turner and I having a little fun talking about it all. It's tomorrow night on the WWE Network. You know the drill. It's probably 4:00 pre-show and all of that, and then they get into all the matches and have a blast. And it's not too Takeover is not too long usually, so it's just a fun time in a concentrated amount of hours for you to enjoy some great wrestling. I've never been disappointed by NXT Takeover ever. I may not have liked all the matches, but I've never walked away from a Takeover disappointed. And I don't anticipate I will walk away from this one disappointed either. What about you, Aaron?
Yeah, Takeover is almost like a dare I say, like a church night for me. Like it's just it's like sitting there watching you're going to church, you're getting the spiritual, the Takeover spirit, your spirit gets taken over when you watch NXT Takeover. Praise be to Triple H for taking over the Holy Spirit during NXT.
Woo!
Indeed. Praise be, brother.
Let's see. I think we got another super chat that came through. Did we read this one already? All right, we did. All right,
yeah, we did.
There's one more that I might have missed here that came through. Where is it? It's down here. Okay, here we go. Justin Lopez, do you guys see anyone from NXT getting drafted? Yeah, we kind of hit that a little bit with the Kyle O'Reilly, Finn Balor thing, but do you see anyone else?
The draft is coming up around the corner. I think that you will see Io Shirai get drafted. I know that's not like big time news, but you may see the Velveteen Dream depending on what happens. You may see him get drafted. I could actually see a guy like Bronson Reed get drafted, big guy from Australia. Yeah. Or is he from New Zealand? One of the two. I think he's from Australia. But I could see him getting drafted. I could see Vince really liking him as an agile big man. I could see him, Damian Priest, like we talked about earlier. I could see him getting drafted if things go that way. Tommaso Ciampa is another one. Yeah. So we'll just have to see.
Okay. All right.
It's very possible.
I agree with everything he said. At some point, Johnny might have to jump up, but maybe Johnny will never jump up.
I don't think he wants to.
Yeah, maybe he doesn't. Maybe he's cool being some people are cool being where they're at. Like the big fish in the small pond, they're okay with it. I don't mean small pond in a derogatory way, but it's just he likes that feeling of being the kingfish in that pond. So I can't fault him. Oh, one last thing. Hill Nellums, if you take a picture of yourself in that shirt, man, and tweet at us Aaron and us on Twitter, and I will retweet it, my man. I'm so happy that you bought some Strong Style merch. If you're looking for some Strong Style merch, we got those shirts out there. The link is in the description. Go take a look at that link and go and buy yourself a Strong Style shirt or mug or mask, or we got all kinds of things there that you can get that are Strong Style logo related. You love the logo, now kind of rep the show a little bit more and show your love to us on social media about it. All right, Aaron, I think was that? I
said yes, sir. Do it.
Yeah. All right, we got one last thing, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, we have our match of the week, which probably will be going away. Sad to say, over the past month. I think it's just a part of the show that we don't need anymore. But we have a match of the week this week, and it is Stunning Steve Austin versus Dustin Rhodes from Halloween Havoc 1993. Right. And this all started because Dustin Rhodes was attacked from behind by Stunning Steve Austin at a previous pay-per-view. And here we are. This is basically how it happens. We have these two. And the reason that I picked this match, very simple. So you have in about 4 years time, you're going to have Stunning Steve Austin, who turns into Stone Cold Steve Austin, who's going to be on top of the world in the Attitude Era. Then you're going to have Dustin Rhodes, who turns into Gold Dust, and is also essentially on top of the world. Huge star during the Attitude Era. Makes him a Hall of Famer, in my opinion. Gold Dust, 100% Hall of Famer. And it's right before that happens. Like, it's kind of the infancy of these two really, really taking off. And it's just kind of fun to watch these two at really their athletic prime, or probably before their athletic prime, really going at it and doing a really psychological match. It's very slow paced.
Yes.
We're not jumping all over the place here. We're doing headlocks and slaps to the face. That's what we're doing here initially, which it really doesn't even take a turn or even really get going until Steve Austin goes for a knee in the corner and misses it and ends up on the outside, and Dustin starts working the knee. So that's really what happened. That's really where it started taking off. And other than that, I mean, other than Steve Austin going for what was it called? The stun gun, which is just draping him over the top rope, which doesn't really work out. Austin cheats, gets a 2 count, or gets a 3 count actually, thinks that he's won. Nick Patrick says, nay. Not happening. So they restart the match. Dustin Rhodes quickly gets a victory, and it's only about a 14-minute match. It's an oldie but a goodie. What did you think of it, man?
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, it had been a while since I'd seen that version of Dustin Rhodes, that version of Stunning Steve Austin. By the way, can you send me the link to the shirt? Apparently, it's not transferring over, and people are trying to get Tronin is trying to get a.
Okay, yeah, sure.
Click the link. So if you could private chat me, and I'll add it to the description here real quick. But yeah, I liked this match. It was a 15-minute match. You're in and you're out on this one. The ending is a bit wonky, but overall, you get the point of what they were trying to do. But it was great to see a kind of it's so funny to watch Stunning Steve Austin. This is, I mean, it's the way he wrestles at that time is completely different to the way he wrestles later on. It's so strange to see the fact that he was Stunning Steve Austin. He's part of the Hollywood Blondes, that whole vibe. This is the guy that ends up shaving his head, wearing the jorts and makes him look actually cool, and all of that, and becomes what he becomes, this awesome, huge thing. But to see their back and forth, and Dustin too, right? You see the technical ability of Dustin Rhodes. That's always been one of the things that when I watch him wrestle that I'm always impressed by. He never disappoints in a technical way when you're watching a match with Dustin Rhodes. So seeing both of them go at it, and the slaps, when the slaps start to happen, those look so real. And sometimes wrestlers will tell you sometimes when they get into those slap wars, those are real slaps they're landing on each other to kind of see how much each of them can take, because they're so hyped up by the adrenaline of the match. And it's certainly back in the early 90s, I imagine that happened a lot more than it probably does now. But I mean, they were going at it. A lot of interesting moves back and forth. That running bulldog, I forgot how that was a part of Dustin's resume at that time. So to see him try to attempt it, not get it done, and what have you. And it's good to see a Nick Patrick, a pre-NWO Nick Patrick as well. Really funny to see him be a part of this. And Jesse and Tony calling the match, which I had forgot about, that they had worked together there as well. So that was all of it around is a real time capsule of a match. And it feels to me like Austin's hit of Dustin at the end there with the belt looked damn legitimate, man. That looked good. Real. That was a little scary sometimes when they take those hits.
Well, there's a reason they call Dustin Rhodes the natural. He takes after the old man. He's so good, so precise in the ring. You could argue that now with him doing the DDP yoga, like he might be better than he's ever been, which is really crazy to think that at his age, he's still running around the ring like a young man and getting it done. And then, of course, you know, you got Stunning Steve Austin, who turns into probably one of the biggest, if not, you could make the argument, the biggest wrestling superstar of all time.
Sure.
You know, 3 or 4 years later, which is incredible to think, seeing this dude, you know, coming up from Texas, you know, in WCCW, then gets fired from WCW by Eric Bischoff, gets a FedEx in the mail saying you're fired while he's injured, goes to ECW, then jumps over to WWE where he's the ringmaster, and then they want to make him Ice Dagger was one of the names. Chili McFreeze was another name they had for him. And then he said, no, how about Stone Cold Steve Austin? And then, you know, since then, you know, the rivalries with Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, The Undertaker, you know, The Rock, of course. Yeah. You name it, Stone Cold had the feud with him, and, you know, one of the biggest superstars ever to grace the squared circle, which is really cool. Yeah. It's really cool to go back and look at, which is why I liked it.
Yeah, agreed, man. I always like when you pick these. I don't know if people love them as much as they did, like your dips into the past, but I always find them to be interesting dips in the past, and a lot of matches that I either had seen and just went right by me, or have never seen, and it's great to get reacquainted with them for sure. So this was a great choice to make, and it was fun seeing both these guys so young and their move sets at that age as they're building, and the WWE's in that weird kind of transition place from Hogan and the Bret Hart era into the Attitude Era, where they're just kind of figuring out what they are and where they're going. But we're only a couple of years away, as you said, from it really exploding and a second renaissance, a second golden age of wrestling in the WWE. So it's fun to see these guys in kind of their building block times, you know. So I love it.
Absolutely. And I hope that you like the Halloween Havoc style matches, because that's all we have for this month is Halloween Havoc. So you better like it.
What do we got for next week, my man?
So for next week, we're talking Big Van Vader versus Cactus Jack, from Halloween Havoc 1993. Yeah. There you go, Mick Foley. Not to be confused with Travis Scott, not that Cactus Jack. We're talking about Big Van Vader and Mick Foley in I believe it's a Texas death match. I don't know. We'll see how it goes next week, guys. It's going to be a crazy one. I haven't seen this match in a long time, so I'm excited to revisit it. But I had to get Vader on there. Got to show love for the big men. Love that. Please let us know if the link in that Rocha just put up for the shirt is working. Yeah. Let me try it here. Actually,
Tron, and make sure it's working. You were asking, Tron. I can't put it in the description because the show is already live, but I will put it in the description after the show is over. But certainly
that works for me. It takes me right to it.
All right, Tron, and let us know if you can get to that shirt, man. We want to see as many people buying those shirts and repping them, and maybe we'll bring you in live. If you tweet at us and you come on the show, I'll bring you in live to ask us a question live on the show. That'd be fun. So thank you for buying any of the Strong Style merchandise. Just send us a picture of yourself wearing the shirt. And don't Photoshop your logo onto a black shirt. The shirt.
I'll know if you don't, because I get the numbers. I'll know.
Exactly. Yeah, send us a copy of your receipt, and we'll
copy of your receipt. Oh God,
that's how Jason Inman did it when he was selling his book. So,
are you serious?
Oh yeah.
Copy the receipt.
Yeah, just to make sure people.
Whitney Houston, show me the receipts. Show me the receipts,
Bobby. Anyway, all right. Well, that's our live episode of Strong Style here on this Saturday afternoon. Thank you all so much for joining us, and thank you for understanding me having to push it from our normal Friday slot at 4 p.m. PT to this Saturday slot at 3 p.m. PT. We had a great time. Hope we entertained you. Hope we got you feeling good about things. Hope we made you laugh and took your mind off some of the madness that's going on in the world. And looking forward to NXT Takeover. Maybe if I get a chance to watch it, Aaron, and you get a chance to watch it, we'll do a mini review of it on Monday or Tuesday and have a little fun with it as well, as we add more content to Strong Style. And Aaron and I are still talking about branching this thing off into its own channel, having some fun with that as well. So all of that in play here for the Strong Style brand for sure. All right, Aaron, where can people find you, and what have you got going on, my man?
You can find me on Twitter at only Aaron Turner. Still working on some guests for the show. Got a couple bites, but then also got kind of ghosted. So we'll see. We'll see how that kind of goes for the future. But like John said, we're working on Strong Style content, and keep churning in them Streamlabs and SuperChats. We're trying to build a house here, guys. We need money. Okay, we need money back on it. I'm just kidding. You guys do your part. We appreciate it. Wear a mask. Be safe. Do all that kind of stuff. Hope everybody's doing well. And hope for a little bit we could take your mind off of some stress that you may have. You talked about the Disney layoffs and stuff.
Yeah.
And I just hope for a minute we can take your mind off of this crazy 2020.
Yeah, and look, I know it's weird to think about this, but maybe going back and watching an old wrestling match or an old wrestling pay-per-view to put a smile back on your face, give you a little bit of hope that you can feel happy again or you can feel good about things. It's one of the gifts. I mean, people make fun of pro wrestling all the time, and they can kiss my ass because I think pro wrestling has been a great source of entertainment for me for a majority of my life. And when I felt down, especially now that I have the network there, and even me with all the stuff going on, there are days where I feel down. I'll put on an old match or an old pay-per-view and just have it on in the background while I'm working on other things because it brings a smile back to my face and lifts up my spirit. So hopefully we've done that for you today, and hopefully you can find a way to do that for yourself and go and watch some old stuff and enjoy it, or some of your favorite matches, and kind of lose yourself in them for a little bit, feel good again. Click that happy button inside you and keep moving forward. We want to keep you here in the Strong Style Nation, and definitely in the Outlaw Nation for as long as possible. So, all right, thanks everybody. You can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter and on Instagram, and please don't forget to share this show on your social media. Like and share this show on your social media, because when you do that, you tell your friends and family that you approve of this content. If they trust your opinion, maybe they'll try out this content, join us, and be part of the Strong Style crew and hang out with us every week. As we do all kinds of things. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel down below as well, if they want to enjoy multiple different shows and a variety of topics being covered here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Would appreciate that. We crossed 14,000 subscribers, getting closer to 15,000. That'd be awesome. So please come aboard that train as well. And then hit like on the video and leave a comment. The more comments you leave, the more likes you leave, elevates the visibility of the show and makes it possible for it to be showing up on the side as a suggested show for people when they click on a pro wrestling video. All right, that's it from us. Have yourselves a great rest of your Saturday and your Sunday. Hope you have a good weekend. And we'll talk to you next time on another live episode of Strong Style here on the Outlaw Nation channel. Be well.
Spooky season.